going to see you probably more than it's going to see me, but I like to get me. How about like, now it's more me. Okay, there.
I can move over.
Okay. How's that? Okay. All right, so we're both in there. Okay. Hello, and hi, and okay, hold on here. Let me just make sure that. Hello. Hi there, Bob Carr. Okay, gotta get this. Try to get it so it hits both of them. Okay, here we go. Okay, all right, so I'm going to go ahead and do this, and I haven't done this yet. And, okay, and so that's good there. And I might have to switch something up here. I'm going to have this. Okay, so away we go. Okay, and all right, let me make sure I got everything. Okay. Okay, hold on. Hello, hi, hello, hi, who, he, ho, he. Okay, all right. Second.
From coast to coast and around the world, this is Kaleidoscope, America's most exciting radio magazine.
Why isn't that recording? Shoot. Oh, God. Did I press the right button? Hello. Okay. Take this damn thing out of there. Okay, I'm sorry. I didn't. I have to get that recording. So we're going to try it again. Hello. Okay, let's see if it didn't, I don't know why it didn't do it, but okay. Hello. Okay. Hi, hello, and hi. Okay, I got to get another disc. Hold on. Okay, wait. Hold on. Might be there. Hello. Hi, hello. Hi, hello. Hi there. Okay. Okay, we're recording all this nonsense here, too.
Right behind the scenes.
Okay. Okay, all right. Yeah, I guess that's what this is. Hello. Hi. Okay, so we're ready to take it again, I think. Okay. Okay, so here we go. Okay.
From coast to coast and around the world, this is Kaleidoscope, America's most exciting radio magazine.
Hi there, Bob Carr here for the Kaleidoscope Radio Magazine. And we have another sports special here for you. For the next 30 minutes, we're going to review the top sports moments of 2013. And here to discuss it with me is sports announcer Richard Harris. It's good to have you back on the show, sir.
How you doing, Bob? Good to see you. Happy
All right.
holidays.
Thank you very much. We're taping here, by the way, on December 19th of 2013. Let's start with the NBA for 2013. That was sure some great finals last June between Miami and San Antonio, with the Heat prevailing.
San Antonio was a team of opportunistic opportunities throughout the whole playoffs. They get to the finals against the Heat and had the championship in their grasp in Game 6, but Ray Allen hit that magical three that allowed the Heat to force an overtime, and then they win the game. And then in Game 7, of course, too much LeBron down the stretch. He took a bad shot, got it back, got a second opportunity, and Miami Heat are your two-time defending NBA champs.
How about that? Coming up in 2014, Indiana, Miami, Portland, Oklahoma City, San Antonio, and the LA Clippers look to be title contenders.
It's a bizarre year so far in the NBA. The Eastern Conference is depleted with good teams. They only have really two, which are Indiana and Miami, but the West is loaded. And Portland's a surprise. Portland, Damian Lillard is proven that the Rookie of the Year award last year was warranted. And, don't sleep on the Clippers, although they still have to figure out ways to get out of the first round. Memphis will come back once Gasol is healthy, and it's going to be an exciting race down the season.
You bet it will be. Where do you think LeBron will end up? He's going to be a free agent?
LeBron's not going to go anywhere. I think he's going to play this game all season long. Everyone thinks he's going to go back to Cleveland. He's not coming out here to the Lakers or to the Clippers, not going to New York. He's going to stay where he is because Dwayne Wade's knee is not going to allow Dwayne Wade to play for a lot longer. And so Miami's going to have LeBron for the rest of his time.
How about Carmelo Anthony leaving the Knicks, do you think?
I think Carmelo said that just for the sake of saying it. Carmelo's wife is an aspiring actress, and she's a talk show host, and she has a lot of good stuff going on. And although L.A. would be appealing to her because she can continue her career, Carmelo's going to stay in New York, get paid, and hopefully he can rejuvenate this dismal team right now that is just horrible to watch. Last night's game against Milwaukee was unbearable.
One of the gripes about Carmelo Anthony seems to be a lot of people feel he's just simply not a winner in the NBA.
It's sad because everyone describes him as probably the best shot maker in the game. Unfortunately for Carmelo, it doesn't always translate in winning plays. It translates for him individually, but it doesn't translate to winning. And he is a gifted talent. I mean, leading a team to a national championship in college as a freshman is still an extraordinary feat done by not many freshmen. And I think his NBA day will come when he gets paired up with the right players.
Hockey, the lockout ended last January, and the season ended with the Chicago Blackhawks on top again for the second time in 4 seasons.
How about American hockey, huh? I mean, the Bruins gave them all they could handle, but the youthfulness of the Blackhawks was too much for them, and they're pretty good this year. Actually, hockey this year is crazy with all the California teams having kind of the best records right now, with the Kings, the Ducks, and the Sharks are doing very well right now. But last year was all about Kane, all about the Blackhawks' youth and goaltending, and they deserve the title.
Boston, Montreal, Pittsburgh, Chicago, St. Louis, Anaheim, LA Kings, Vancouver look to be challengers for Lord Stanley's Cup in 2014.
Once again, there's something wrong with the water in the East Coast because the Eastern Conference teams are not as good as the Western Conference teams are in both the NBA and in the NHL. And like I just said, I didn't even mention the teams that are having success right now in the Central. I mean, in the North Division, they used to call it. West Coast hockey is pretty darn good right now, so it'll be a very interesting playoffs this year.
We are reviewing the sports moments of 2013, a lot to get forward to, including baseball. The Boston Red Sox won their 3rd title in 10 years this past October.
Last year we sat here and we talked about the Blue Jays and their moves, and I said to you last year, don't sleep on the Red Sox, the Rays, or the Yankees. And even though the Red Sox at that time had probably just gotten rid of Bobby Valentine and brought in John Farrell, they just needed somebody to stabilize that team. And for a team that has a bunch of guys that really nobody fears, of course they fear the beard, they delivered. I mean, this closer Uehara was extraordinary in the postseason. And David Ortiz is just proof that if they like you in sports, you can be resurrected no matter what your crimes were. And yes, he was mentioned in that PED list back in 2003, but he's a hero. And in my opinion, he should have been the Sportsman of the Year.
How about that? We're going to get into that a little bit later on, too. Cardinals, their 4th pennant in 10 years, a good run for this club.
The Cardinals just know how to play baseball. The Cardinals, doesn't matter. I know you're a diehard Cardinal fan. I'm sure you could go in that dugout and manage that team because those players respect those who are in authority. Those players show up every day to play. They resurrected, Carlos Beltran, even though now he's a Yankee, his career. I mean, they just put people in place who know how to play, and they play hard, and they play well. And that pitching, they'll be back again next year. I know the Dodgers and teams have made great moves and have as much talent, but don't be surprised if the Cardinals will be back playing for the World Series next year or the year after.
What club do you think during this offseason has done the best to bolster themselves for 2014?
That's a great question. Looking at what I've seen so far, I think that the Yankees have done a lot of good things so far by getting McCann and getting Ellsbury. I don't really think any team has sort of jumped to the head of the pack. I was kind of surprised when Prince Fielder left Detroit to go to Texas. And so there's still some moves that need to be made. The Dodgers are going to have to pay Clayton Kershaw, Robinson Cano money, which, a lot of teams ain't trying to do. But right now, I truly think that the Yankees did some really, really strong moves, and don't be surprised if they're back being what the Yankees usually are.
How about that? College basketball for 2013, I should say. Louisville won their first national title in 27 years last spring. A good run for Rick Pitino's club.
Coach Pitino is one of those coaches that kind of angers the media in this respect that there's more people know about Rick Pitino than they do about their players. And that win they had against Duke in the semifinal when the guy broke his leg, and most people would have just crumbled. That guy's leg got shattered, and his teammates were crying and everything. And for him to sort of galvanize them and get that attention, and then they just took it to Duke from that point forward. And then in the championship game was just too much, too athletic. And, they are who they are. And, this season, don't be surprised if he does it again with the same kind of magic. Not hopefully no one gets hurt like that, but his way of coaching, he lets his players play, and I respect Rick Pitino. He's a UMass grad like me, so I respect him.
Hey, how about that? Michigan, of course, played in the finals against Louisville last spring. 2014 title contenders look to be Louisville, Arizona, Syracuse, Ohio State, Wisconsin, Michigan State, and Duke.
Well, it's, college basketball this year has an influx of freshmen that are just absolutely taking over the world. Jabari Parker at Duke, you had the kid down in Arizona, the kid at Kansas, and all the kids Randall over in Kentucky. It's going to be a wild NCAA tournament. Hopefully all these teams will get in and we'll see some magic. But right now the Big Ten is the front runner as the top conference because of all the veteran players that they have. But just strictly on talent, don't be surprised if some of these teams that have some of these young kids are able to make some magical runs. And speaking of, I know you mentioned, Michigan. I was talking about the national semifinal game with Louisville and Duke. Michigan has some players that are pretty good. They just have to sort of, one of them, I guess, Glenn Robinson's kid is still there. They still have some talent there too. So Big Ten's pretty good. They thought the ACC was going to be a super conference with Syracuse and all those teams joining it. It's going to be interesting to see. Oklahoma State. Remember I said this. Oklahoma State is going to win your national championship.
How about that? We'll look for that come spring. We are reviewing the top sports moments, teams, and events of 2013 here, along with Richard Harris. I'm Bob Carr. College football, Alabama won their third title in 4 years last January with a win over Notre Dame. Quite a run for the Crimson Tide.
Unfortunately, last year I sat next to you and I said Notre Dame would win the game. I'm sorry, I was wrong. I thought that Notre Dame's defense, because of the schedule they had played this season, that they would be stout and tough enough to handle the running of Lacey and Alabama. Unfortunately, when Manti Te'o missed that first tackle in the first half and Lacey ran to the end zone, that was all she wrote. They couldn't stop Alabama with cement. Alabama just ran through them like they were not even standing there. They deserve a lot of credit. Nick Saban, that's why he's the best coach in all college football.
He sure recruits well, too. We are recording here, as I mentioned earlier, on December 19th, so this show will most likely air after the 2013 national title game, which will be on January 6th of 2014 between Auburn and Florida State. In case that this doesn't air before if it does air before the game, who would you pick in that game?
I'm picking Florida State, and the reason why I'm picking Florida State is Auburn doesn't stop anybody. Auburn has a tremendous offensive team. They do it the old-fashioned way with ground pound. They run hard. The quarterback's athletic to run. And Florida State basically has faced that type of offense all season long. Jameis Winston had an unbelievable, magical year. I think he continues it into the championship game. Auburn can't stop the pass. Teams pass all over. I watched all of Auburn's magical moments, folks. The Georgia game of the year. Then the Alabama game topped that as the game of the year when the guy ran the kick. The field goal back. Florida State has blown out every opponent this year they've played. They've beaten everybody by double digits. The only team in the nation to do that. They will beat Auburn 45-28.
How about that? Well, Winston, the Florida State quarterback, won the Heisman this past year. Do you agree? I sort of, kind of, with all the turmoil surrounding this quarterback, I thought that McCarron at Alabama maybe deserved it more, national championships under his belt, etc. How do you see it?
The right person won, in my opinion, because I don't believe the Heisman is a lifetime achievement award. I believe that McCarron, trust me, he did not lose the Auburn game. He played great. I just think Winston had so many magical moments. I mean, his first game as a collegian, he goes 25 out of 27 for over 300 yards and 4 touchdown passes. And all their big games this year, he lit everybody. He lit up Florida. He lit up Clemson. In the ACC championship game against Duke, he lit Duke up. I mean, he just basically had just a year for the ages. Was his year better than McCarron's? No. Was his year even better than Manziel's? No. I just think that his team is undefeated. His team blew out every team by more than 2 touchdowns in every game. He deserved to win the award.
All right, moving on to pro football now, looking back at the past year. Baltimore, of course, won the Super Bowl last February, holding off San Francisco at the end.
Well, I'm not a conspiracy theorist. You know, I know everyone's talking about how when the lights went out and the game got close, I thought the Niners were going to win that Super Bowl, but Joe Flacco, cool under pressure, shows that he can play with anybody. He said he was an elite quarterback. He legitimized himself. And I don't know if you wondered, in the last few years, Joe Flacco came from, from I guess, saying he was elite and delivered. Eli Manning said he was elite, he delivered. Aaron Rodgers said he delivered. So give Baltimore their credit. Ray went out a champ.
How about that? Candidates for Super Bowl 48 in cold New York. It will be a cold weather Super Bowl, remember, taking place in early February 2014. Early candidates, Seattle, San Francisco, Denver, New England. How do you feel?
I feel we're going to be surprised. I feel that we're going to have one team that's supposed to be there, and we're going to have one team that's not supposed to be there. In my opinion, the team that people should be worried about, was the next team I'm sure you're going to say was the Kansas City Chiefs, who basically can run the football. They pack their running game. They pack their defense. Don't be surprised. Remember I said this. Don't be surprised if the Chiefs can upset a Patriots team and upset a Denver team in a playoff game in a cold where it's about running game. Don't be surprised if Kansas City's playing Seattle for the championship.
You know, I'm sort of a Chiefs fan. I grew up in that part of the country. I grew up in Omaha, and the closest NFL team to Omaha was the Kansas City Chiefs.
Oh, right,
and they have some great tradition, but I don't have much faith in the Chiefs organization. I think they've been jinxed ever since Jan Stenerud missed that chip shot field goal on Christmas Day in 1971. The Chiefs had the best record in football, had home games throughout the 90s, and also past the year 2000. They were beaten at home 3 times in a row, 95, 97, 2003. So I just don't see them making a deep run based on their history, but we are going to see exactly how that works out. We are looking back at the top sports moments of 2013, and we've got more coming up here on the Kaleidoscope Radio Magazine. My name is Bob Carr. My guest here is radio announcer Richard Harris. And we're going to have more coming up. If you have any comments or suggestions on what we're talking about, we'd love to hear from you. Telephone number here, 818-780-2270. Or you can email jalindstrom25@gmail.com.
Repairs, including expert collision work, LA Radiator on Santa Monica Boulevard is the place to go. Located just a few steps east of Vine, LA Radiator offers
Turn the page.
the lowest cost available anywhere in the area. Whether it's just a tune-up,
And we're going to go over various events. Then you'll have your parting shot at the end.
Okay. LA Radiator fool you, they do a lot more than just radiators. Remember, the next time your car needs any repair, try LA Radiator at 6216 Santa Monica Boulevard.
think we should do a sports show
located
together.
just a few steps east of Vine Street in Hollywood.
LendingTree.com is turning the
Hey.
tables on the loan process. Now, rather than going from bank to bank in search of the best deal, you can have over 100 banks and lenders actually competing for your business.
Good insight that you're
You fill
giving. I
out one
appreciate it.
simple form. Then within hours, you'll receive up to 4 great offers. It's easy, it's free, and let's face it, it's better. LendingTree.com. When banks compete, you win. Equal housing opportunity. For additional information and state license disclosures, please visit our website located at www.lendingtree.com.
$5,000. That's what the Navy has waiting for you. I could buy a computer. Sign up now and begin training by
Where am
May
I going
31st,
here?
and you could be eligible for a $5,000 bonus. I could buy a car or use it while traveling the world with the Navy. As you earn
We'll try to go
more
quick
dollars,
hits here, as quick as we can to get everything in.
Plus,
So if you see me do this or something, that means we need to get to the next one. I'm not trying to cut you off.
$5,000. Call
I really like your
1-800
Chiefs.
USA Navy or visit our website at NavyJobs.com. Navy, let the journey begin. Paid for by the U.S. Navy.
I'm sorry, you were saying?
I really like your Chiefs.
The Chiefs?
I really do.
I like them too, but they're jinxed in the playoffs.
But you got to say the jinx is a little. That's true. To get Andy Reid to take that team that was 2-14 to
15 seconds, sir.
Log on to kforce.com.
You've been there.
A new kind of job site,
ah.
kforce.com.
Back to more of our review of the top sports moments of 2013. I'm Bob Carr alongside Richard Harris. We're going over some sports issues here during the past year. Miami Heat, 27 straight wins last winter. They fell 6 wins short of the all-time Laker record, which was 33 back in the 71-72 season.
When the Heat are hot, they're hot, and when they're healthy, they're tough to beat. And I love the fact that they went both coasts, didn't discriminate against who, and they beat all those who were in front of them. They deserve a lot of credit for taking the regular season serious. I wish they would have challenged the Bulls record, but they didn't.
You mean the Laker record?
Well, in terms of 73 wins.
Oh, okay, I got you. Okay.
I wish they had sort of like played the whole season that way so they can make a statement that way, but it is what it is.
And they had a phenomenal run, and of course they won the NBA
won the
championship.
title. That's
Yeah,
right.
and that's all that I think that really matters in Miami to LeBron and crew down there. One of the top stories overall that had some sports ties, of course, Richard, was the bomb tragedy at the Boston Marathon last spring.
You know, it's so horrible, and I was very shaken by it. I have a lot of friends who live in the Boston area. I went to University of Massachusetts myself. Devastating, hard to think that in this country that someone would perpetrate an act like that, anywhere. And, that's why like I said before, I still feel that David Ortiz should have been the Sportsman of the Year, because what the Boston teams did this year, think about it. The Patriots made it to the AFC Championship game. The Bruins made it to the Stanley Cup Final, and the Red Sox won the World Series. It's been a huge sort of rebuilding mentally year, character building year for the city of Boston. And my heart and soul and prayers go out to those families that were affected and are still affected by it.
Well, staying in the Boston area, something negative. What's going to happen to Patriots player Aaron Hernandez?
I don't like to play the speculation game in terms of when people have been, are being tried for murder. Unfortunately, this young man, threw away a great life, and hopefully, hopefully this situation will be adjudicated properly and justice will be served.
Totally different story here. How about A-Rod with the Yankees? What's going to happen to him?
I'm glad you brought A-Rod up. I'm an A-Rod supporter. I personally believe that Major League Baseball deserves to be, in trouble in some respects for what it did to try to go after A-Rod. I think A-Rod probably won't play another day in Major League Baseball, which will make a lot of people happy. But, for me, I think it's a disgrace what they did to this man. He denies doing the things recently. Yes, he denied. In the past, he admitted, but the recent stuff of this clinic, there's more to the story that we're being told, and hopefully in January we will get the whole truth.
Concussions in the NFL. What do you see in the future? Early deaths or memory loss for many former players? It's really people are really talking about it a lot now.
My problem with the topic of concussions is, first, I don't believe that the NFL is done enough in order to recompense those who suffer from this. I think that we've all played football since we were little kids. We all knew the risk of being hurt, maybe not concussion-wise, but we all knew the risk in playing the game. Unfortunately, there's absolutely nothing that can be done shorter than putting flags on people, because collisions happen, concussions happen, not only just with helmet hits. You hit the ground hard. I mean, there's so many things that are wrong with that whole concussion topic. And I just hope they continue to research it and get better at it.
Give me 2 or 3 quick names here. Who do you like to fill the shoes of Mac Brown at the University of Texas?
Well, they keep talking about this guy Franklin up at Vanderbilt. I think that he's a good coach. John Gruden needs to be coaching somewhere, but he's saying now that he only wants to stay at the NFL level. That I can understand. if Muschamp had done a better job at Florida, he would have been totally the natural guy to bring back there. I just wish that Mac Brown didn't have to be pushed out of there.
Yeah, he had a great run at Texas, the national title in 2005, beating USC. What happens in Washington with the Redskins there, Shanahan, RG3? Is RG3, does he have a big future in the NFL? Maybe another position, maybe? What do you think?
Well, part of my parting shot, I talk about how the sports world has been dealing with change. And everyone thought that RG3 and all the other quarterbacks were going to change the NFL. Well, RG3, in my opinion, I said this last year, I always felt that he was set up to fail because he's not in the right system with the right coach. He's a good football player. He might need a little humble pie at times, and maybe someone needs to sit him down and let him know he doesn't have to answer every question. The Redskins are a mess. They went from being the media darlings to basically the scourge of the league. I mean, I'm a Giant fan, so I don't have really any compassion for them. But this offseason in Washington is going to be extremely interesting.
NFL coming to L.A., when's it going to happen?
I think that we will see snow first, although we almost saw some today, before the NFL comes to Los Angeles.
Yeah, it's been dragging on, and 2013, when we are taping here, is the 19th season in L.A. with no NFL, so we'll have to see about that. Are you going to miss the BCS? It ends this year.
I'm going to miss it only because I like the discussion. I like college football more than any other sport, so I like the discussions about it. I still think this 14 playoff is not going to solve the problem because you're going to have a situation where you're going to have 5 unbeaten teams, and one of those teams are going to be Notre Dame, and people are going to say, Notre Dame travels well, we want them at our game. I mean, I know they have this panel that's going to determine things. Notre Dame plays a national schedule. They play a tougher schedule than most. It's not going to be easy.
Should be interesting to see how that works out. Peyton Manning, Sports Illustrated Sportsman of the Year. Good choice. I think you said earlier you like David Ortiz.
David Ortiz is a Sportsman of the Year. Peyton Manning, he's had a great year in terms of football-wise. David Ortiz galvanized the city. He's the face of Boston sports. He deserved to be the man of the year.
You know, one thing about Peyton Manning, I think everybody in the sports world really likes Peyton Manning. There's no question about it. He does have the one Super Bowl ring, so he does have that. But big questions about him sometimes in big games. He does throw picks in tough situations, like against Baltimore last January. Denver had a chance to win that game. Manning throws a late pick. And then the Super Bowl, of course, he threw a pick against New Orleans, which was costly, returned all the way back for a touchdown. So he throws the ball an awful lot. Pass-happy quarterbacks. That's why the AFC didn't win so much in the 80s and early 90s, all these pass-happy. We'll see what happens. I mean, I think everybody roots for Peyton Manning, but can he do it again? Now, how about the play of the year in 2013? Now, there's two that come to mind for me. One is Ray Allen's big three to help Miami win Game 6 of the NBA Finals against San Antonio, and eventually the Heat would win the NBA title by taking Game 7. And the other big play, Auburn's miraculous win versus Alabama on November 30th, with the missed field goal being returned back for a touchdown. Now, the big trivia question is, most people don't know who it was, what the name of the player was who returned that kickback. His name was Chris Davis. Which of those do you like, or do you have another play?
I'll throw another play in there. How about I don't know if you follow soccer. Mexico needed to win a game in order to give himself an opportunity to try to compete in the World Cup. And that guy, I forget his name, he did the bicycle kick over his shoulder in the 80th minute to give Mexico a 2-1 lead over Honduras, to give them the opportunity to win that game, and also propel Mexico to play New Zealand. And Mexico destroyed New Zealand in 2 games, and now they're in the World Cup. That was a huge deal. Another big sports moment of the year, I don't know if you follow UFC boxing. Anderson Silva hadn't lost a fight in 15 years, and I guess he was fighting this guy Chris Weidman, and was kind of joking around with him, kind of toying with him in the ring, kind of trying to like you do Muhammad Ali or Sugar Ray Leonard with the face, and got popped and lost the fight. So they're having a rematch this coming Saturday.
How about that? Again, we are taping here on December 19th of 2013, by the way. Masters Golf Tournament last April with Adam Scott winning was sure something.
Adam Scott has got Tiger Woods' game. His swing is like Tiger Woods. He's got Tiger Woods' caddy. Adam Scott proved this year he's a great player. The players this year voted Tiger as a player of the year. He won 5 tournaments this year without winning a major. But the bottom line is Adam Scott's got a big game. Golf is in a good place right now.
All right, very, very good. Now, who do you think is the best sportscaster out there right now, analyst or play-by-play man?
I love Gus Johnson. He's my guy. I like Joe Buck, excuse me. I like Jack Buck too, but I like Joe Buck. He's my guy as well. Jim Nance. but Gus Johnson is my guy.
All right, good choice there. He's a guy who did the slipper fits as Gonzaga won a big game some years ago. Now here's something I'm going to debate with you a little bit. See what you think of this. I saw an article in Slam magazine that listed the top players in Super Bowl history, just their Super Bowl performance. Number 1, Joe Montana, no debate there. Number 2, Terry Bradshaw. Number 3, Jerry Rice. Number 4, Lawrence Taylor. Number 5, I got a problem with this. Joe Namath, number 5. Number 6, Tom Brady, no problem. They should probably move him up. Kurt Warner, number 42 on the list. I'm mad. I'm a big Kurt Warner fan. Took teams to 3 Super Bowls. Could have won all 3. Did win 1. But Namath at number 5, I'm sorry. Won just 1 game, didn't even throw a touchdown pass in that game, and I still think it's very overrated. Do you have now you got me. Tell me what you think of this list.
Well, I think the list is a little messed up, only on the regard because they essentially is top performances in the game or just top players who played in the Super Bowl. I mean, Lawrence Taylor did nothing in any of the Super Bowls he played in, and you know he's my favorite football player of all time. I mean, obviously, Jerry Rice, to me, I mean, Joe Montana threw him the ball, so I can't really say anything. And yeah, he still scored 3 more touchdowns with Steve Young. As far as the Namath analogy, Namath, he made the guarantee. So I agree with you in that respect. The game gets a lot more credit than it deserves, even though it was a symbolic game. Kurt Warner, I agree. Kurt Warner is a first ballot Hall of Famer. Kurt Warner should be in the top 10. There should be very few people ahead of Kurt Warner in that regard.
Well, thank you so much. Okay, well, the Baseball Hall of Fame is coming up here. It'll be in January. Let me get some quick yes-no answers before we get to your parting shot here on the following Major League players and whether or not they should get in the Hall of Fame or will get in the Hall of Fame. We'll say will get in the Hall of Fame. Quick yes-nos. We're going to start with Jeff Bagwell.
No.
Craig Biggio.
Yes.
Frank Thomas.
Yes.
Tim Raines.
No.
Mike Piazza.
Yes.
Jack Morris.
Yes.
Tom Glavine.
Yes.
John Smoltz.
Yes.
Pete Rose.
Not in my lifetime.
Mark McGuire.
No.
Barry Bonds.
Yes.
Manny Ramirez.
No.
Roger Clemens.
Yes.
And of course, the consensus is that Sosa and Palmeiro have really no shot of getting in. All right, let's get it over to Richard Harris now. Richard, I want a parting shot, an event that took place during the 2013 calendar year in sports that you would like to talk about. Go ahead, sir.
Well, sometimes they say that change is good. Is change good in sports? Think about all the changes that have happened in 2013. All the rules changes in the NFL, whether you talk about concussions, whether you talk about blocking below the waist. In baseball, they're about to come up with some new rules that you can't crash into the catchers anymore. They're about to implement a rule to increase instant replay in baseball as well. Aren't you confused watching football as it is right now? Aren't you confused watching baseball sometimes with some of the rules that they come up with that play in the playoffs where the guy, the umpire called interference because the guy ran in the baseline and the third baseman had difficulty throwing the ball and then basically cost the team a game. I think it was the Cardinals. But the point of the matter is change isn't always good. Think about the teams. How many coaches got changed this year? Why is George Carl, why is Vinny Del Negro, who led the Clippers to their greatest season ever, all sitting out this past season, not coaching anywhere? And George Carl was a coach of the year. Lionel Hollins, great year in Memphis, got to the second round, not coaching. Why is Lovie Smith not coaching? Andy Reid being changed from Philly to Kansas City. And now Kansas City's doing great. Philly's having a good year, but not, Andy Reid is a great coach. Change isn't always great. Robinson Cano changing to Seattle. Jacoby Ellsbury going to the Yankees. You know how much pressure he's going to be under? What this year has taught me most in sports is that it's not about the name on the back of the jersey so much. It's about the name on the front of the jersey. And as long as we keep that in mind, we will be okay watching sports.
Richard Harris, enjoyed your parting shot there. I'm Bob Carr on the Kaleidoscope Radio Magazine. We've been discussing the top sports moments of the year 2013, looking at the top teams and top players and all that. And Richard, I want to thank you so much for coming in. It's always good to have you on the show.
Thanks, Bob.
And I want to thank you very much for listening.